I'm Pastor Daniel Grainger, and I'm currently serving as the pastor at Christ Lutheran Church here in Quincy, Illinois. And I am a pastor in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. Friends, neighbors, fellow believers of democracy, I stand before you today as a witness to something stirring in our nation, something that wraps itself in Scripture, but speaks the language of superiority, something that carries a cross but would crucify others for the sake of power. Some might find it problematic that I, as a pastor, would speak out against the political actions of other Christians. But true faith requires speaking the truth in love, especially when that truth is needed within our own communities. And loving the whole Christian witness means calling it to its highest ideals rather than allowing it to become a tool for domination. And so I am moved to speak this day because something dangerous is taking root, a kind of nationalism flowing through the veins of our country like a poison. It is a nationalism that claims to be Christian, yet when examined closely, there is very little resembling the words and deeds of Christ. That's because Christian nationalism confuses the flag for the cross. It conflates patriotism for piety, and it assumes the powerful are innately righteous. But nationalism was not the way of Jesus. I've been a follower of Jesus for 38 years. The Jesus I know and love did not seek a throne, but a table where all could gather. He washed feet instead of demanding obedience. He touched the untouchable, proclaimed release to the captives, and flipped those tables of corruption and greed. Scripture tells us Jesus at one point was offered all the earthly kingdoms in exchange for his allegiance. Jesus refused that deal. Yet I'm convinced the Christian nationalists would have taken that deal in a heartbeat. The truth is, every time we conflate the cross with the flag, every time we declare America is God's chosen nation, every time we suggest that true patriots must be Christian or that true Christians must pledge allegiance to any human leader, we are bowing to the very temptation Jesus refused. These self-proclaimed Christian nationalists are quick to bellow about their unwavering love for their country while trampling the very principles that have made the U.S. what it is today. As such, they equate criticism of their movement or their leader with sin. And so you are either loyal to a fault or you are an enemy. The thing is, we've seen this before. We've seen this before. In the Lutheran tradition that I'm a part of, we remember how Martin Luther posted his 95 Theses as an act of loving critique, not because he hated the church, but because he loved it too much to watch it become corrupted. Similarly, true patriotism isn't blind allegiance. Real patriots don't confuse loyalty with obedience, but strive to reconcile with our nation's brokenness for the sake of a brighter future. As such, if we remain silent in the face of ongoing injustice and idolatry, we end up betraying not just our faith, but our country too. Though Christian nationalism claims to speak for both Christianity and America, it betrays the core values of each. As a result, Christianity is weaponized against democracy itself. Faith is twisted to justify the unjustifiable, and Scripture is abused at whim by its leaders for their own agenda. But perhaps the most threatening aspect of Christian nationalism is that many good people of faith don't even notice it. Yet, All their piety and prayer, all their talk of greatness and prosperity is merely a veil to cover their greed and lust for power. The truth is, for our great nation to truly prosper, it needs neither a strong man nor to coerce people to faith. It only needs each and every one of us to see each other across all differences as equally worthy of dignity and voice. So what can we do? How do we stand against the onslaught of abuse and lies? How can we clearly see through their twisted perversion of the Christian faith? First, we pay attention. We become aware of how Christian nationalism has seeped into our politics, our communities, and our very understanding of Christianity. Like the air all around us, it is invisible yet everywhere, shaping our society in ways we often fail to recognize, and we should not take that for granted. Second, Christians must reclaim what Jesus has given us. We must reclaim the call to stand with the powerless, not the powerful. We must reclaim the moral wisdom that speaks truth to despots and kings. And we must reclaim a faith that seeks to serve rather than to dominate. Third, we reach out beyond our comfort zones, across dividing lines. We practice the radical hospitality that lies at the heart of both authentic Christian faith and genuine democracy. And finally, we stand firm. For when authoritarians demand loyalty to themselves over allegiance to the truth, we must stand with those throughout history who have refused to bow to tyrants. Let me be clear. I stand here not with hatred, but with love and hope for what this nation can be. For when we believe in the golden rule over the rule of gold, when we refuse to allow wealth and power to dictate our values, when we refuse to allow one particular faith to become the measure of a real American, when we strive to be agents of justice and mercy rather than guardians of privilege, we live more authentically, both as citizens and as people of faith. Make no mistake, Christian nationalism is testing both the soul of our democracy and the soul of the Christian witness in America. I pray we find the courage to stand, Christians and non-Christians, liberals and conservatives, all together for a nation that's big enough for all of us, a nation without kings. Thank you.